Pit River is one of 3 rivers in the west that flows from Great Basin through the Cascades and into the Pacific Ocean. This is also the headwaters, really, of the Upper Sacramento River based on volume and distance from the delta. What made this river so unique is the fact that it's primarily fed by 3 spring creeks: Bernie, the Rising River / Hack Creek, and the Fall River, one of the largest spring creeks in the west. This also was an area that had Native Americans, the Achumawi, living on basically every flat along this river. So along with the McCloud, this is one of the main spawning tributary streams of the entire Sacramento River drainage. The pit's been through many reincarnations in the past 80 years. If you take, for example, Pit 3, it didn't even exist as a reach until 1986. CalTrout was instrumental in having this dry reach rewatered, and that took work with FERC, which had never been done before by a private organization, to get water turned back on. So the majority of the water here is diverted completely around. Well, people say how hard it is to get around here. You could also contrast that with 100 meters of fishing the pit is like fishing a mile on the McCloud or the Upper Sac. It's just stuffed with fish in every nook or cranny.
I first started fishing the pit in 1989, and I think, probably without question, it's the river that I enjoy the most here in California. I probably have, since '89, I don't know, 150, 175 days on this river, and it's one of my favorites. When the new flows went into effect last year, one of the things that I felt I needed to do, both as an angler and as the executive director at CalTrout, was to spend as much time as I could on this river, because we've been instrumental in recommending new flows that we felt could benefit the fish in this river. And I think the fish are healthy, and it's part of our job is to work with PG&E and work with the Department of Fish and Game and work with local guides to understand what the real impact has been.
So the FERC process started in the late 90s here on the pit, something CalTrout got involved with. We worked on this with TU and the Federation of Fly Fishers to represent the fish and also the anglers. The information, the fish data about habitat suggested that more flow would be better, really for 2 reasons. One, to cool down the water, especially in 4 and 5. And to create more space. There could be more adult habitat available with more flows. The FERC process is a messy process. There's a lot of people involved, a lot of agencies involved, and we didn't get everything we want out of this license. We got maybe a little more flow than we would have liked, but we're confident that's going to be good for the fish.
Some will say it's unfishable, some will say it's too dangerous, some will say your access and your comfort in the river is really challenged by these new flows, and there's no question, it's different. I don't think anybody would doubt the fact that more water is good for fish. I mean, have there ever been any situations when more water is not good for fish? Probably not many.
I personally love it at these flows. The river's great. It's challenging to get around, but that's what makes the pit fun. If you're willing to put in the effort and get to the spots, there's a lot of fish. Every spot that looks fishy typically has a fish in it. It's more suitable habitat to grow and sustain big fish, and I think as anglers, who can complain about that? It's a little tough to get around in. That's why it gets its reputation. It's a great place to come and test your gear out, test your new wading boots, test your new wading staff, test your skills walking in the river. But every spot you get to that looks fishy, there's going to be a fish there, so it's worth the time and effort.
You can fish it, you can catch fish, you can catch a lot of fish, and you can catch big fish. But it's different, and you have to figure out how to adjust to a new river.
From an angler's perspective, you just have to learn a new river again. Anglers have had to learn this river again and again for generations. And in fact, it wasn't that long ago, there was no river here to learn at all.